Hi everybody and welcome to the latest round of IronQuest. Today I'm really excited to be joined by Chantilly. Hi Chantilly.
Hey Sarah, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, can't complain.
Oh, it's good to have you here. You know, I've wanted to have you as a co-host for so long, so I'm glad we finally made it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I can't wait to hear your perspective on some things. I know you're going to have some really great feedback. I just know it. So
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming along. So obviously today we're going to be reviewing the latest round of IronQuest, which was black and white. So the idea of this one was that people designed using only black and white colors. So monochrome, keeping it really simple. And I think what we're seeing a lot of the designs is that people really use that to their advantage to kind of emphasize different areas and things. A lot of people gave me feedback in the sense that it really helped them kind of hone in on their design skills and really think about how they apply color. I don't know if you've done black and white vises before, right? Chantilly?
I think I've done one. I've done one. It was a pizza one for a Makeover Monday, and it was just for fun. I just wanted to try something else. So yes, I've done one.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've started designing in monochrome like for work, and then I put the color in later. So I think by doing that, yeah, it really helps. I showed my most recent client like a design I'd done, and it was completely like grayscale, and they're like, it's not very colorful. I'm like, don't worry, it's going to be colorful, but I just want you to see what it is going to look like, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that massively helped the whole process because. Otherwise, I think we've got a tendency to get carried away and just throw color on there just for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I teach when I'm talking about design secrets for a non-designer. I always talk about how to, start in grayscale first, make all of your charts and your images in a neutral gray color, and then go chart by chart and see, is there anything that you need to color, like, coloring strategically instead of just, throwing color everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's such a good technique as well. But yeah, let's dive in. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're not going to review all the vises that were submitted for feedback for the ones that we won't be able to get to because there's simply too many, unfortunately. The ones we won't be able to get to, we're going to provide some written feedback to you. We prioritize the ones from either newcomers to IronQuest or people that haven't been using Tableau for very long. So like I say, if you don't see your viz covered today and you ask for feedback, you will get it, but it will be via email. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So let me just bring up the first viz. So this one is by Ashik, and it's on Diego Maradona, who sadly passed away just last month, or this month maybe. So obviously very famous footballer from Argentina. Let me just scroll down the viz so we can have a look at it. So.
So I'm a fan of this timeline.
Yeah,
that's down here. I think that's probably my favorite part of the visualization for sure. And then I like how color, which is the white, is used to draw the user's attention to the certain marks per year that they want us to catch. So I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, instantly I can see those white dots and follow it. The only thing I would change with this is maybe change the color of the line that connects the highlighted line with the white dots.
Oh yeah,
because otherwise they kind of blend in. It's a hover action. I just noticed. So I think if I hover over them, they kind of change. But I think that would be nice. But I agree. I really like it. I think this is I think it's Kevin Flerlage's blog. He's probably followed because I've done a curvy bump chart like this before, but it looks really nice.
Yeah,
I really appreciate the annotation. So he's adding in that context around kind of what happened in those periods as well.
Yep, and the consistency with the icons, I like that as well. Small icons that are used throughout.
Well, let's have a look at the top. So we've got bar chart showing the number of, let's see, number of series titles won. Okay, for each one.
Yeah, that didn't immediately stick out to me without hovering exactly what the chart represented. So I think a small piece of feedback would be to, add a caption or a title with this bar chart up top.
Yeah, absolutely. I might be inclined to like highlight Juventus in white, just because we've got the annotation coming out about calling out Juventus. It's the one with the highest number. If that one was in white, then my intention would be drawn in there immediately. So that's like one piece of feedback, maybe using that color more intelligently there.
Yes.
Especially because those kind of other bars are kind of empty, right? They've just got the outline.
Yeah, I would definitely highlight the maximum bar there.
Yeah. And then we've got these like word clouds, so North versus South war.
So I like the word clouds. However, I feel as though they're all the same size. So we're using color to kind of highlight, I guess, maybe the ones that stick out the most. I'm honestly not sure. What the different colors mean. So maybe having a scale in this area. Also, if the wider color represents, more what they're seeing more as, I would make those words bigger and the other ones smaller.
Yeah.
So I would use size as another visual attribute here.
I agree, because we don't even, when we hover over them, there's no like further context either. So I don't know if they carry like different weights, or the colors just being used to highlight the ones that Ashik wants to kind of like bring to the forefront.
Yes.
But other than that, I really like it. I really like the consistency in the fonts. All the titles have kind of got the same font in the same size, which is always good to see. Yeah, I think it's a nice bit. Yeah, it's a great bit. Well done. All right, so the next one is by Ashok, and it's on Black Friday deals. So did you go shopping this Black Friday, Chantilly?
No, I refuse to leave my house.
I don't blame you. So funny enough, in the UK, we don't have Thanksgiving, but we now have Black Friday, so it's very strange.
Wow. That is a little backwards.
It is, yeah. I blame Amazon. I'm sure it's Amazon that brought it over. So here we were looking at the, let's see, let me just read it quickly. Promotions on Black Friday. So the authors put together a list of all the deals that were available, the price range by store, product category. I think this is I was just thinking for a second that it might be Superstore data, but I think it's real data.
Yeah, this is real.
Yeah, it just looked like the products looked a little bit like what you might see in the Superstore sales like data set. So I didn't know if they'd mocked something up. So I'm going to click here to see the summary of product sales. Okay, so I get some bar charts showing the number of items on sale, the product category of number of items. So we can see that Macy's had the most number of items, and electronics was the top category. I would say that on these bar charts, there's a lot of annotations. So I'm not sure if we're supposed to select maybe a store first. I might go back and try that, but it looks like there's a lot of things kind of overlapping each other.
Yeah, store and product. So I actually just accidentally made it go away, the store button, because I did a double selection that just wasn't there.
Right, okay.
For it.
I think because the button that I clicked appears above the store, I was inclined to click that first, right, in order of how they appear. So yeah, I've gone back, I've clicked Macy's, and sure enough, I've got the one bar for Macy's, and then I can see like some call outs around just what's on sale at Macy's.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think actually for a visualization like this, I do like the interactivity because, it's an exploratory dashboard, right? Not every dashboard is going to be designed to give the user a story, to follow. So I appreciate the exploratory analysis that an end user can take on when looking at it. I think I would have started with the visualization and letting that speak volumes first, and then have the table in that button, you know, to show the actual items in a collapsible table, instead of letting the table, you know, take up so much real estate on the dashboard and having the summary in the button. I probably would have reversed those two.
Yeah, I think because it's a shame that we've lost the visualization in this button, right? I agree. I'd rather see the visualization than the table. The table's so important, but I agree about switching them around. First of all, I would move the click here to see summary of products sales button to the last button that you press. So you'd select your store. If you wanted to, you could select your product category, and then you would see either the table or the visualization, whichever way it was done. I would just say though, if once you do click a single store and a single category, you're left with these really big bars, because I think the visualization set so it's a show entire view. So the minute you apply that filter, you've got this really big bar that takes up the entire screen. So I'm thinking maybe rather than having that kind of filter action, it would be good just to see how that store places in the list of all the stores.
Yes.
And the product categories as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, it's a cool concept. It's something that I wouldn't have thought about doing. And it's a kind of visit that could be really helpful, right? Because it's data you could actually take away and use if you were looking to buy something specific.
Absolutely. Yeah, the first thing I did was go to like Best Buy and Dell and Lenovo, because I'm a electronics person. So I was just looking through those deals.
Absolutely. But no, it's great. And good, stuck to the theme, fully black and white, which is good to see. One other thing I would say is I'll just give it a little bit more space as well at the top. It feels like everything in the section shaded black is like really condensed. So it would be nice to space it out a little bit more. I do like how the buttons are the individual store logos though. That's really cool.
I like it. Yeah.
All right, so the next one is by Azaz, and this one I think was an entry into Make of a Monday for one of the Viz 5 Operation Fistula weeks. So this is looking at the success of the pilot program that Operation Fistula ran between 2012 and 2015. So it looks at the number of women they helped, the average years they gained in their life. I think we've got a few of these visits coming up, so we'll get familiar with the data set. So it looks at where the women were from, how much their treatment cost, and as a result of the treatment, how many years of healthy life did they gain.
Got it.
So I like the way that this viz starts off with some bands. I'm a big fan of bands. I know you are as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So like, you get those summary statistics like right up front, which is always good to see. I'm just looking at it now. Feel free to chip in.
So I like the 3 bars in the middle section. Two things I probably would have done: the summary statistics and the cost of treatment. I probably would have aligned those in the center, so adjusted the chart so that those items were kind of centered, right? Yeah. And then the healthy years of life gained, I'm not sure I would have done a sum for that measure.
Because you've got to do the maths. You've got 4,839 years in Madagascar. Yeah. So you divide that by 403, which I'm not going to try and do right now.
Yeah.
Maybe an average.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have. It sticks out, like the number sticks out, but I'm not sure it resonates, right? When someone is looking at that. So from a data perspective, I probably would have changed that metric.
I agree. And it's difficult to say, like, did women in Madagascar gain more years than women in Zambia, for instance?
Yes.
By looking at that, because we just don't know, because there's just more women in Madagascar that were helped. And then we have the scatter plot. So we have got 3 colors here. I think Azaz reached out to me and said, is it okay? And I said, yes, don't worry, you're using other colors, but it's fine. Still mainly black and white. So we're looking at the outcome of the surgery, so whether continent, incontinent, or partially continent. And then the years gained and years lost.
Okay. I like the caption up top to say what the bubble size is, what they represent. So I do appreciate that.
It's a good way of like humanizing it, I guess, because we've got a dot for every woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do like the scatter plot.
You can see the trend, right? It's really really clear, so that's good. And then at the bottom we've got a big call to action, a donate button, which is always good to see on these kind of vizzes, and then some more context, which again is good. It's like adding to that story. There's a nice balance in this viz of like analysis and kind of context, I think.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Cool. Well done. All right, next one we're looking at is by Brandon, and this is on US and German relations, which I think, again, is a Make of a Monday data set.
Okay.
So are Americans and Germans living in two separate realities? So,
next, how would you rate the relationship between bad and good? Wow. I like the simplicity of the viz. That's the first thing that sticks out, right? Like from a design perspective, it's great. I absolutely love the two colors that, you know, the two, half of it is white, half of it is black, and the bars correspond. So I appreciate that from a design perspective. And honestly, I love it. I love the simplicity of it. Yeah,
it's like bam, straight in your face and you read it. I like it. I like vizzes that do this kind of like split, like white and black. Like kind of it. I think it provides a really good like visual like impact. Yeah, it's super simple. It's good that we've got some more context in there. Like we understand what the question was they were asked, and then a kind of a little bit more about the reasons, perhaps why they answered as they did.
Yeah, it was very simple. I don't have anything I would critique on here.
No, me neither. It looks great. Yeah, well done, Brandon. Okay, let's move on. Next one is by Carolyn, and this is US spending on advertising, I believe. Which again is another Make of a Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So it's looking at how much they spent historically versus a forecast looking into the future. And then we've got the areas of spend by different categories. I think the original viz for this week, I think it was looking at how kind of traditional kind of media, TV, print media, that kind of thing is declining in popularity for advertising spend, and more of the spending has been done on the internet.
Okay. Yeah, that the charts down below really illustrate that. And I appreciate with these charts that are down below the fact that they're on the same scale. Right, because usually when charts are broken out, individuals will put them on their own scale, have an independent axis range for them. So I do appreciate the fact that they're all on the same scale, so you can kind of get the point across and offer that insight to your end user.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like how Carolyn's kind of shaded in the history in the darker color, and then showing the forecast in the lighter color as well, because I think that's personally the way I would do it, because I feel like the darker color shows that it's been done, whereas the gray is kind of more uncertainty. You know, it's a prediction. We don't know how it's going to go. It's interesting to see, and it's emphasized in all these charts, how advertising spend dipped as soon as COVID hit, right? And yeah, I do like the consistent design as well. So we've got the header kind of in that like rounded rectangle, and all the individual headers look like that as well, which is nice.
Yeah, no, I like it.
It's personally nothing that I would change. It's really nice.
Same here.
Cool. Well done, Carolyn. Okay, the next one is by Danny. So this is Danny's first IronQuest entry, I know. And this one is looking at the Unknown Saola, I think is how you say it. So it's, Saola, it's pronounced Saola. It's otherwise known as the Asian unicorn. It's an endangered mammal. So I'd never heard of this animal before. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me either.
So he introduces the kind of what the animal, what the, let me get it right, Saola is, how many, are remaining in the wild, and kind of how they get spotted. I like how the viz kind of tells a story. So he's like kind of drip feeding that information, right? So what are they? Where are they? Why are they kind of dying out?
This is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like this chart by elevation. At first I was wondering, like, why are they, in the middle of the chart? But then when you look at the title, it says, the chart shows sightings by elevation. And I like that because when I look at it now, I do, compare this to like a mountain and where they're sighted at on the mountain.
Yeah, you can just imagine them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like that. From a design perspective, because I really like the storytelling here, so I don't have any comments on that. I think from the design perspective, I would have rotated the bars maybe in the center the other way. I'm not sure the purpose of them being rotated the other way.
You mean left facing rather than yeah. I guess it was probably a design thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah, because I think when we go to the left, you automatically think of a kind of a negative facing scale, right?
Yeah, that was the only thing.
Yeah, it's so this text is a little bit cut off on mine. I think there's one that begins CAM. I don't know what the next bit of the word is.
It's cut off on mine as well.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how so he shaded in the ones in black, which are harmful methods. So like where they've been hunted. I think it's nice that we've seen that distinction. Yeah, no, I like it. I like the map. I think the map is like super simple, zoned in. Like it could be very easy just to show the whole world and then shade a little bit of the country that it relates to. But here we're just seeing the bit that's relevant, which is nice. And then again, we've got the call to action at the end, which is always good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done, Bradley. Okay, next one is by Donal. And this one is looking at Sean Connery's violent legacy. So obviously Sean Connery sadly passed away recently. And apparently he was an abusive arsehole who beat women.
Wow.
Which I didn't know.
It's not very nice of him.
No, is this in real life? Or is it his characters?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say his character. Yeah.
Who knows? It doesn't. Does it actually say where the data came from? Oh, yeah, it does at the bottom. It's kind of hidden with a picture. So 3 different sources.
Maybe if we hover over the circles, well,
these are movies, right? They're not.
Yeah, I was wondering if those were the movies that he beat women in.
It looks like it's just his work, so these are just his movies and when they were.
Okay.
And then.
So I think my take on this is it's a very strong title that doesn't have the data visually to support it, right? You know, like domestic abuse and violence is very triggering. And when I saw the title, I was more so thinking, all right, let's get the data to back that up, right? You know, this is a human individual that we're talking about. This is an actor who had a legacy, right? I wouldn't want to necessarily make a statement like that on the visualization without having the supporting facts and the data to back that up in this visualization. So I think the viz itself and the title don't really correlate, right? They don't have, they just don't go together for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it says, what can I do? Take these 16 steps to address violence against women. Okay, great. Rather than me clicking the link, I would love to see those 16 steps on the viz. Because I'm far more likely to read what those 16 steps are if they're right in front of me now, rather than me taking that action to click the link and go away and read whatever's on that article. It's got this section down here in his own words, which is blank. Now, I'm assuming that's because Sean Connery had nothing to say on the matter.
No, right. Check on the next slide. Check on the next tab.
Oh, okay.
It's there on the next, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said.
I get it, but at the same time, I don't think that the visualization corresponds to the message at hand.
Yeah, because at the same time, we're then celebrating all of the work that he did, right?
Exactly. And if this is such a serious topic, I wouldn't want to necessarily like glorify his work. Now, something I would have considered was, okay, maybe he was abusive to, I actually don't watch, you know, many of his movies, I didn't watch. So maybe he was abusive to women, or he portrayed abuse to women in the movies, right? I still haven't understood if this is like real life or if this is in movies. So if he did that to women in movies, then maybe I would use this visualization to highlight the movies that he was abusive to women in. Like that is something that I would do here.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I don't know why the movies are shaded different colors. Like we've got, I'm on the second tab, so
yeah,
1954 to 64 or 65, they're in like white, and then they changed to blue. It doesn't tell me why. I don't. I'm missing something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. Okay, let's move on. So the next one is by Eve Thomas, and this one is on Iron Woman. So it's the Ironman Championship, but looking at the female athletes that have competed. I think she looked at CJ's blog posts around creating these really cool like radial charts.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, it's so pretty. So yeah,
I like the highlights when you click on the circles.
On the country or on yeah, it's cool.
Countries.
It's nice.
Yeah, well, I always say one day I'm going to create one of these charts. I've only done a Sankey, right? A lot of folks think because I'm a Tableau Zen master, or I've been using it for 10 years, that I can create these like art charts, and I tell them no. You know, my specialty is design.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. I've tried to do a Sankey and I failed like miserably. You won't find any charts like this on my Tableau Public. I'm just not good at maths. Just the thought of doing it just puts me off. One day, I've done curved bump charts using a blog post before, but that's as far as I've got.
I like this, yeah.
I like this. It's really simple. I like the design. I like how she's using the country circles in the middle, kind of as almost like a dividing line.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see all the information that we need, right? So, the countries, the athletes. It's nice.
Yeah, I like it. Nothing really that I would change.
I have one question, and maybe I'm misreading it. So Paula Newby Fraser, sorry. For some reason on her bar, like it's
2.
It's split into 2.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why. But I don't know. Other than that, no, I really like it.
I think because if I'm looking at this am I reading this right? I thought I saw for Paula there were 2 countries. Yeah, 2 countries are represented.
Oh, I see. Okay, so Zimbabwe and then
The USA.
USA. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, because I click on that or highlight over her bar, I get the different highlight action for the different countries.
Oh, so the highlight action isn't a click; it's a hover. I should have read that. I'm over here clicking.
It does say. I never read the instructions. It just goes straight in. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. No, really great work, Eve. It's really nice. All right, so the next one is by Jan Marco. I hope I'm saying that correctly, and it's looking at the space race. So how much failure is enough to rethink space race? I'm just reading through it, so give me a few minutes. It's focusing in on all the countries that have been involved, how much it costs, failure rate. There's a lot in this viz.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Are you able to hover on anything? Like, do you see tooltips, or is it just me?
There's not on the bar charts.
What about on the middle scatter plot?
No, nothing's coming up for me.
Okay.
It looks like there's no interactivity.
Yeah, so that would be my first tip, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have, in this, I'm guessing I'm not sure if it's a scatter plot or I'm just not sure what the height of each of these.
It might be a jitter, right? I don't know.
Yeah, like what they represent, like what the axis is or anything. So I would, if we're not going to have like an axis or a call out outside of the caption on the right, I would definitely recommend using a tooltip.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about the icons, so the success and failure icons?
So now that I've looked at it a little closer, I'm guessing the fireballs that are coming down represent the failures.
There's a key, yeah. So if you look up on the right, so yeah, the fireball coming down is failure, the rocket going up is a success. I think the problem is that they're different. Well, I think all the rockets are the same size and the failures are bigger, but when there's that many clustered together, it becomes quite hard to see like the distinction between the two.
I think a good visualization that could work here, because I'm not against the icons, right? I just think they need a little bit of tweaking. Maybe a yearly axis for all of these, where there's each of the rockets have their own axis and they're on like a year, like a particular year, and you can kind of see how many and when they took place within the year, something like that.
That would also show are they getting more successful over time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the trouble is here we don't know what that axis represents.
Yeah. From a design perspective, I think it's great. Visually, it looks good, minus the icons in the center. However, I do think it could use a little bit more interactivity or a little bit more context to help end users kind of pick up on the information that's being displayed.
Agreed. I'm just reading down. So there's a lot of text at the top. So, which is good. It's a good way of introducing the topic, but I would consider, does all of it need to be shown up front? Could any of it be shown in like an information icon or something? Because otherwise it's a lot of text to consume, especially in that space at the top kind of left, which is normally where your eyes are drawn to first.
Yeah.
I'd even be maybe inclined to move those bands over to the left and just reformat them a little bit. So like similar to how we've seen other ones. So we have the big number, then we have kind of underneath what that number represents.
Yeah. Or have like you said, a little bit less text, an info icon, or even a collapsible button that says read more, and then you expand to show the additional text.
Yeah, that would work. And then we have this chart showing launches versus failure ratio over history. And we're calling out 2 years, so 1971 and 1918. Sorry, 2018, excuse me. I don't quite know why those years are being called out.
Maybe the max. Maybe a comparison between the launches versus failures.
Maybe it's the failure rate.
Yeah, the failure ratio.
Right, yeah, okay,
So
got you.
there's been a decrease, in failure ratio over the years.
Until 2018. It's probably Elon Musk, right? He was mentioned down at the bottom. Because we've got some more information about different countries and the failure ratio, and then the new players on the scene, so like SpaceX, ULA, and Roscosmos. Is that how you say it?
Not sure. So what I also like down below in this bottom right hand corner, I do like the call out with, it looks like an annotation, kind of, with the plus 90, plus 66. I do like that. That's pretty neat to me.
Yeah, it's very different. I've not really seen that done before. It works. Yeah, it's good. Super detailed viz. There's loads of information in here. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Right. The next one we're looking at is by Ingrid. And this one is looking at Ingrid's, basically she set herself a challenge to read a book from every country around the world next year, which in English, which I think is incredible in itself when you think how many countries there are. The fact that she's even found books that are translated into English from some of these countries is impressive. So I was exploring this viz earlier. So she's got all the countries mapped out. Where she's got a book, I think, where she's got a book in mind, she's in the tooltip, you can see the details of what the book was, who it's by, a little bit of information about it. But I think she's got some countries that she's marked, but she's yet to find a book for. So it's almost like a work in progress, right? And then we've got a breakdown by different authors. The one thing I would say is I'd love this for this viz to be a little bit more visual.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so I love the map, but all the map's telling us is the countries, right? So I don't even know if a map is necessary in this case, because we're not, unless it was being shown to show the countries that she was still missing or something like that. But at the moment, all we're doing is highlighting the different countries.
Yeah.
So there's a dot for every country, so it's not really adding anything in its current state. But where we've got the breakdown by gender, I'd love to see that in a chart of some kind, just to see the comparisons, maybe like in a bikini chart or something like that.
Yeah.
And then just, I mean, all of these little tables lend themselves to be visualized.
Absolutely agree. I also think for the map, if we were to stick with the map, right, I personally prefer maps that kind of go a little bit more with the background.
Yeah.
That's being used, so maybe using a black or a gray background for the map instead of the lighter gray with the white.
Yeah, so it blends in, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeffrey Schaefer's got a great blog post on that, because without fail, I always forget how you do it in Tableau, where you kind of switch off all the layers.
Oh yeah.
And I used to go back to Jeff's blog posts all the time, but he's got a really cool blog post where you can just utilize like the inbuilt map features in Tableau without using Mapbox or anything.
Yeah,
And
it's just removing the base.
Yeah.
Remove the base.
And then add it back, like you can see, tick the boxes and see what happens as you go back those layers. But yeah, and it would be really nice to see, like, maybe utilize the black and white and highlight the countries, maybe in a lighter color that is still to be, where you still need to find a book or something like that.
Or is this interactive? Can we click on any of these? Oh, we can. So I do like that.
Yeah.
Do like that. So you're able to click on each of these charts and filter the map. So I would say one point would be to, in this area, because I'm not sure if it's in the text on the left, but in this area, just note that a user can click on these things to filter the map, right? Just, because I didn't know, honestly, that you can click on these marks and it'll filter the map. So just having some type of caption that instructs your user to click on something and it'll have some interactivity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. One thing that's really nice is Ingrid has actually provided the data sets. So, and I think we can, there's a Google Sheet, so we can actually get the list of books if we want to read them.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. Yeah, it's a good luck with your project. I'm really impressed. Like, just to read that many books, let alone that many books from around the world, is incredible. Like, I struggle to read one. Like,
When did she start?
She said for the new year, so I'm assuming January.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I'm still reading the same book that I'm ashamed to say I started in the summer, and I'm still reading it.
So I try to do like 50 pages a day because I think that's the most I can process, like in one sitting. But I've also started trying audiobooks.
Okay.
It's worked out a lot better for me.
I could do that when I was traveling, like commuting, driving, whatever. But now I'm just at home. I wouldn't be able to listen to an audiobook and like work at the same time. It's too distracting.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day. I do like reading, just don't have the time. All right, the next one is by James, and this looks at the effects of COVID-19 on crime in Surrey. So, fun fact, I was born in Surrey. I lived there until I was 9, so I know the area well. So for those not from the UK, Surrey is just kind of west of London. So he's used this really cool like map, kind of Sankey almost, from what Wendy, I think, was the person that wrote a blog post on this, and she had the kind of that rotated heat map at the top and then the lines coming down, which is what the effect he's kind of applied here.
Cool.
Super beautiful viz. I love the simplicity and everything of it. My criticism would be that it's not interactive. So the first thing I did when I looked at this was like, oh wow, let me see where all the effects were, and it doesn't do anything, and I'm so sad, because I think it highlights the square, but it doesn't do anything to the map. And the map is, so simplified for the design that it's quite hard to like pick out individual places.
Agree. It's a cool looking visualization, given that I always like these like modern vises, right? I've seen an increase of them this year, and I think it's amazing.
I think every year the community gets better and they take on these new styles. I think this year, like this kind of like modern, minimal design has been the one that people can go into. With these more advanced techniques as well, like this kind of chart you would not have seen like a year ago, I don't think.
Absolutely.
So for context, James actually works for the county council in Surrey, so this is probably data that he is either using at work or has some impact on his work, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, so on the line chart, I've got some feedback. So I really like how we're just showing 2 years and the comparison. There's a couple of things that I would change. So first of all, I would I wouldn't have those rotated like x-axis months. I would so they don't rotate. I would probably just use the individual like the first letter of every month. So J, F, M, etc. Because I think it will be quite obvious what those represent just by including those letters, and that would avoid you having to rotate the axes. And also where we have the color key, I'd probably just put those years at the end of the lines and remove the color legend altogether. I have a thing about color legends, so try and not use them when I don't have to. So I think that's that's a simple change that would make a little bit of a difference.
I like how, okay, so you see and this is just something minor, but I definitely like it. You see the lines that are in between each of the sections, like the really thin lines.
Yeah.
How it connects to the bottom and it spreads out like that. I think that's pretty neat. Like each of those lines, like it's passing behind the viz and it's showing.
It's nice. Yeah. And then we have this, I guess, bump chart maybe, I don't know, it's not a Sankey I don't think, at the bottom, which is showing how the different crimes have changed, the amount of crime per category has changed over time.
Like a curved slope.
Yes, it's a curve, that's what it is, isn't it? Like a curved slope chart. I love it, I love the way it looks, but to be able to see what these represent, you have to hover over them. Which is, I mean, it would be nice if there was like a call out or annotation or something without labeling each individual one, but just something that showed me, okay, antisocial behavior is now the top category. Yeah.
Also, I learned this a very long time ago. Command buttons and tooltips, they can sometimes make or break.
Yes. I noticed that it's at the top, I think, or on the map. Maybe I clicked an area on the map. Yeah, that was it. So you get
all of them. Yeah, it's on all of the tooltips.
You get it's the two on the tooltips. It's the two lowest tick boxes, right? So you've got the command buttons and also the selection by category. So like if you hover over the kind of the area name, you have this kind of selection by category thing. I usually turn those off by default. Do you do the same?
Yeah, because I've run into so many cases where an end user, like a new user, is clicking around and accidentally selects that keep only, and then it disappears, and they're like, "Oh, I broke it." So
I was doing this in some training recently. I was like, "Please turn these off unless you've got a specific need to keep them on. Turn them off." Yeah, good point. But I really like this. I think it's visually stunning. It does tell a good story. I just wish that there was some interactivity so we can actually see kind of, I mean, what I really want to know is like what areas are the worst for burglary, theft, etc. And I can't really see this on here because all those lines are coming out at the same point. So I don't know what line relates to which crime. If that's what they represent at all, I don't know. But yeah, well done, James. Okay, the next one is by Jasmine, and this is on, I think it's on mental health, suicide, that kind of topic area. I really appreciate, first of all, that there's a content warning at the top. It's really, really important when you're doing visits like this. So well done for adding that in. So just bear with me, I'm just having a look.
Yeah, same here.
First of all, I really like the design. I think I like the fact there's this constant bar that goes through the viz. She's using to add any kind of titles, text, anything like that. It's really consistent.
Yeah, I honestly, don't have anything negative to say about the viz or any criticism, excuse me. Maybe in section 3, I would darken the bars that are lighter, like the I would call out a little bit more, use color a little bit more for that, differentiate the colors between the white and the gray, if that was, what she was trying to do here.
Yeah, because she's got self-harm in a lighter kind of color. I get what you mean. So you darken everything else apart from self-harm.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
The gray and the white are very close.
It's interesting how the lists differ so much between like men and women, like the different reasons. It's a completely different order. We're looking at numbers here. Would you consider changing it to percentages? Just for comparison reasons. Yeah.
Between across panes. So female and male, I would.
I like the chart, the number 4. I like how she's got, I don't know what you call this, I guess, let's just call it a barcode chart for now, but where we can see kind of like the areas where there's like more density, right?
Yeah.
In numbers. I think I like the way that those work. And I guess it's quite nice how she's using color here to show the difference between different sections so they don't all blend into one. Because imagine if this was all white, it would be quite difficult to see which dot belonged to which category.
Yeah, I want to just say, like, this is a sensitive topic, so I think Bridget Cogley did a really great blog on data ethics and, presenting information related to death. And if anyone is going to go that route and, present numbers related to death, then I'm going to give a plug to say definitely check out Bridget's blog on how that information should be and should not be portrayed.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great blog. And it's a really difficult topic to cover as well. I appreciate that she's got a call to action or where you can go for help at the end. It's good to see. Anything else you want to add?
No, nothing else on my end.
Okay. All right. Next one is by Chris Curtis, and this one is looking at Fulham Football Club, famous soccer team, football team in the UK, and it's looking at their route to the Europa Cup final. So I really appreciate he's got a how to read on here, because it's quite a complex chart if you don't really know what it means, but once you read the how to read, it makes perfect sense. And I really like the design of this viz. It's super clean. I spent a lot of time kind of looking at it when he first published it. I thought it was really nice.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I
get a sense of when the goals were in the matches. Like, are they the type of team that score early or late, or kind of were these goals in extra time?
Yeah, I always appreciate a good timeline. No, I really like it, and the colors that were used, I like that as well. What are your thoughts on? All right, so what's your take on? You see on the color legend on the right hand side how those same 3 colors mean 2 different things depending on which circle you're looking at. What's your take on that?
I'd say there's a risk that the audience could get confused. I always try and say only use one color to mean one thing. I guess in this case he's calling it out. Maybe I'd make that in that how to read section, I'd make it clearer that like what I'm looking for in the outer circle and what I'm looking for in the inner circle, rather than just showing them as small circles that all look the same on the legend. Right, so maybe show the top ones as outer circles and the top ones as inner circles, just to make that super clear.
Yeah.
And he is, I mean, to be fair, he's got the dots going across to the picture, but on the actual legend itself, it's just these small circles.
Yeah.
He could have had like rings for the outer one, maybe something like that.
That's the only thing that I would caution, just having the same color mean two different things in a visualization.
Well, yeah, other than that, I think it's great.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, next one is by Lisa, and this is looking at global wealth inequality. So first thing I say is I really like the design of this.
Yeah.
Super clean, simple. There isn't much text. There's no kind of intro text to tell you what this is about or anything. So maybe if you don't want to spoil the design, maybe add some information in an information button or something just to set that context. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would totally agree. Just adding some more captions around these charts. Also from a data perspective, it's a sticky topic when we talk about if we should use average income or median income, right? So because you can have so many outliers when you're talking about income. So I would, in a visualization like this, I would maybe consider having a parameter that switches between the two, so that, with median, you're excluding some of those outliers, or they're not really weighted heavily, versus with average, right? It's weighted within the average itself. So maybe just having a parameter or something that switches between average and median, so your end user can decide which measure of central tendency they want to go with.
Good shout. One other thing I'd say is on the reference lines, we've got the values. So North America, 51.8 thousand. In the tooltip, it says that it's got the dollar sign. I'm assuming that's US dollars, but we don't have the dollar sign on the reference line. So I would add that in and just make that clear that that's US dollars, if it is. And as we go down, so we're looking at the middle chart looks at the top 10% versus the bottom 90. It took me a while to kind of get my head around what this chart was showing. And then I would say, so we've got the black and white bar chart. So we've got the black bar represents the top 10%, and then the white bar represents the bottom 90. But the tooltip doesn't appear to work. I think we've got the same tooltip on both bars.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming that I've interpreted this correctly, because if I look at Africa, the top 10% is 55%, and those bars look almost equal, which would make sense.
Yeah, that's the case for the bottom chart as well.
Yeah.
Design-wise, I think it's great. I just think like those smaller things can sometimes make or break a visualization, that I always tell developers to keep in mind. It's just the smaller things like the tooltips and the captions and things like that, that can make a break of this. I don't know, did you notice the lines on the left-hand side? I really like that when we're talking about overall income, and then we go to top 10%, and then that line gets even smaller. We talk about 1%. I think that's pretty neat from a design perspective.
It's really subtle and really, really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the spark lines?
I think they're good. I think I would, because there's no axis, there's no axis, there's no scale on the left. I would have a caption or something somewhere. So I get, spark lines typically to show the highs and the lows. You kind of remove some of those things from a design perspective. They're more like design type of charts. But typically what I would try to do is just add more information around the chart itself. Like an info icon or something that just says it's like what are the years from without the user having to hover.
Yeah, the reason I ask is I think they've all got an independent axes, which is fine if we're showing the overall trends. But just calling that out, I think, would be helpful.
Yeah, that as well. Oh yeah, because if you look at North America in the top 10% chart,
yep,
it's 45. Its highest mark is 45, and the one to the right of that, that's 39%.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Yeah. Okay. But other than that, I think design-wise, it's really nice. Just I think it needs some more story for sure, and just some more context, just to explain what's going on and what some of those things mean. All right, so the next one is by Mark, and this one is looking at the Bornean orangutan. I really like this viz. It's super cool what he's done. So the first kind of slide, let's call it, kind of introduces the orangutan, what it eats, its kind of lifespan, some key facts about how long they live. Like surprisingly, they live up to 60 years, which is amazing. And that's on the left-hand side. And on the right, we're looking at, so this is almost like a timeline. So starting off in 1930, how many are in the wild? And then the map, I think, is showing where they live in the country. I'm not entirely sure what the colors mean here. No, maybe you do.
Not sure.
It's not interactive, so I don't know. But then we click on let's say the play button, and it's interesting how as you move.
That's where they live. The white areas where they live.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. And as you move through the viz, it kind of moves to the left, which I think is pretty cool. But what I really, really like about this viz is that he's tried to put kind of the millions of hectares of the forest lost into context. So this is the equivalent of the size of Maryland or the size of the Bahamas, which is always really, really good, right? To kind of actually have that context. These numbers can be quite hard to interpret without that. So I really appreciated that anyway. And if we keep moving through, we can see the story's getting worse.
Yeah.
We're losing them, and then right at the end, it's looking to the future. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's quite impactful.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I absolutely love it. I like the interactivity that's there. It's just a wow factor on each slide as you're clicking through. It really, hones in on the call to action at the end slide.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes you want to take action when you see the blackout on that map.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's got a good balance, I think, of analysis, and definitely the storytelling is really strong, and the design's nice. I like how you get to the end and kind of that shaded area just disappears and it all becomes one chart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the effect he was going for. I reached out to Mark and he mentioned that, so I think it works really well.
Yeah, totally agree.
Is there anything you would change?
No, nothing on my end.
No, me neither. I guess it's difficult once you get to the end, right? If it's estimating that there's none left in 2070, there is no bar. So yeah. I think the way he's approached that is fine. It's difficult because you almost want to show it, but at the same time, there's nothing to show. So yeah, but no, well done, Mark. I really like this. It's really, really good viz. All right, so the next one is by Mohit. And this one is looking at the same data set we saw before from, who was it now? I think it was Operation Fistula, years lost versus gained. So same data set approached in a slightly different way. So this one is purely just a scatter plot looking at the years lost versus gained by different age groups.
Yeah, I like the call outs with the boxes around these.
It's rare you see this, but it works so well. It's the kind of thing that you see, like Coldness Bauer-Knaflick mentions a lot around annotations and that kind of thing. I really like the fact that he's using like the dark color to show the years lost first, and then the light to show gained. I think, we want to. It's really emphasizing that, I think, with using the dark color for the lost years.
Yeah.
And again, each of these dots represents a woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Only thing I would say is just add an intro, like small intro line or small paragraph below the title. That's it. Yeah.
So what is a fistula? What is Operation Fistula? And where can we go to actually, if we want to contribute to the charity? Where can we go to donate, find more information, that kind of thing? At the moment, we have no information at all. Like, what countries is this for? We don't have a time period, nothing like that.
Yep.
Right. So all of that good stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Other than that, I think the viz is great.
Yeah, it's really cool actually how he's used the title as that color legend as well.
I did notice that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, next one is by Palaf, and this is called My Inner Voice. It's looking at basically looking at people who have an inner voice and the results of a study around what they found when they started researching this topic. Super interesting, really. There's a lot in this viz.
Yeah. As I'm scrolling through it, I do see that there are some areas where emphasis is drawn on certain texts. I personally think that if you're highlighting any stats or data within a paragraph, that those items should be emphasized as well, just so that your end user's eyes are drawn to those things. So like under the effects section, you have some stats in that paragraph. I would probably highlight those numbers there, so you can make sure anywhere you see a number and you're trying to call it out, I would obviously highlight that there.
Yeah, if I'm just taking this section for an example, it's purely calling out what we see in the chart, right? So I think some of that text could probably be taken away, maybe put in a tooltip or thing as well.
Yeah.
The charts, there's nothing wrong with the chart, but it's in its current state, it's not really emphasizing anything either. It's kind of just, this is the data, right? We're not emphasizing a particular bar or category, which may or not be a good approach for this, right? But do we want to call out the ones that have no effect or a direct effect or something?
Maybe instead of having the large bodies of text on the side, maybe let the chart expand in that area and use a smaller annotation instead for a bar or two.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if this is the case, but I think he's probably done it this way because of the design. So we've got this background, it's lovely, kind of boxes to add the charts into, so it didn't lend itself to that kind of space for analysis, or space for the annotations. But I completely agree with you. Because when I look at
Overall,
this,
I like it.
I like it. When I look at this, I'm inclined to just look at the charts and not read the text, or maybe read the text and not look at the charts. If we had that annotation text, I'd be more inclined to look at both.
Exactly.
It's interesting as well as we've got the emotions associated with the voices, and they're not all negative, right? So we've got positive, neutral in there as well, which I would consider showing those in a different color.
Oh yeah, the ones that aren't negative emotions. How do you feel about the justified text?
Which one?
Or all of the paragraphs? I think they're all justified. So you have some gaps.
Yeah, like there's one, nature of voices, there's a big gap in the middle. I know why he's done it. It's for design, right? But I think I've done this before. It's on my Stormzy viz. I did the same thing. You end up with I ended up with a big column of text. Like it wasn't like this where it flips between side to side. I ended up with like one big column for different kind of sections.
Yeah.
I got some feedback saying you should never do this.
Yeah.
So like I would break it up a little bit more and maybe consider not justifying it. I mean, I think it would still look nice if it wasn't justified, but maybe split each of those chunks into two, and that's your midpoint, or do what we said before and move some of the text to an annotation. Because in the one I'm looking at, nature of voices, right? So 81% reported the presence of several voices. So I would use that as an opportunity to really call out that bar with multiple, put that detail in the annotation, then maybe mute some of the other bars into a lighter color. And I think that would really like help with the storytelling aspect.
Yes.
Because right now it's on the audience to kind of, oh yeah, look, make that kind of connection.
Yeah, totally agree.
How do you feel about the text at the bottom, which is quite big?
I like it because it's like a quote. It's like a conclusion, an ending statement. So I get why it was done.
Yeah, it's good. I like how he's got the no more kind of section, so you can find out more about it. I'm just curious. I'd really like to know the number of people that were in the study. Right? Does he include? Okay, so it's at the very, very top.
Yeah, something like that I would highlight as well.
Yeah.
Just anything that you want your end user's eye to be drawn to.
Would you include a map?
No, because not in this case, because there are only 3-4 countries represented.
Yeah, I think 50% are from the US. So, and there's no like pre-attentive attributes on the map, right? It's all the countries that are included are in black, same shade of black. I'd probably just include that as a bar chart or something similar.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot of individuals, when they see geographical data, their go-to is always a map. I think sometimes there's just better ways to portray that information instead of a map.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this case when we're looking at it at a country level. It's not like they were from particular cities or anything like that. It was, yeah. No, I really like this viz though. Other than it's good.
Yeah,
it's an interesting topic as well. All right, so the next one is by Preef, and this is looking at acid attacks in India on women, I believe.
Another modern viz.
Yeah, very similar design where you've got everything center aligned and you kind of read down. It reminds me a little bit of James's one on SURREY, right?
I'll say incidence is spelled wrong in the first chart.
Listen and I, right?
Yeah, well, the
or
D
in the wrong way around.
Yeah.
I like the bands.
I do.
I would probably just remove the decimal place on the percentage. I don't think we need it to be that precise. So round it up or down.
I think for the chart in the center, the 5 states account over 50%. I think for that chart, when we're looking at like the number of a metric compared to like the population, I would probably, instead of just looking at the number of cases per each state, I would probably look at the number of cases per 100,000 people in those states. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because those states could just be larger than the other ones. So I would probably add additional context to that chart.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know if West Bengal is highly populated or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Good shout.
I like the fact that each of the charts down below are all on the same axis as well.
Yep. I like how these charts mimic the style of the one above as well. It's consistent.
It's very clean, very simple. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's all I have for this one. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. Clean, simple. We can go for more information if we want to as well. Yeah, it's good. All right, the next one is by Priya. And this one is looking at the pilot program, again, Operation Fistula. It's the same data set. I told you it was going to come up a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's because Operation Fistula's logo is like black and white. It just kind of lends itself to that design. So we know the data set already, so I'm just going to scroll down quickly to see how Priya's approached it. So how do you feel about the map on this one?
I'm not a fan of satellite maps with filled, like that filled thing on
shading.
Top of it. Yeah, I'm more of a fan with satellite maps and density or symbols.
Yeah, there's something that doesn't feel right about floating those things on top of the satellite map, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I ask is because in this, if we look at the countries that are shaded, so we've got Madagascar and Malawi, which are the ones that stand out. There's only 4 patients from Mozambique, for instance, 13 from Zambia, and then 13 from Mauritania. I think it'll be more powerful to show this in a bar chart, but I totally get why Priya's done it in a map for the design kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
I really appreciate the intro text. So, I wasn't a part of this. I didn't participate in this makeover Monday. So I just had some questions on the topic in general. And a lot of that was just answered by reading this text right here.
Yeah. And I like how she's kept it simple and it's not paragraphs upon paragraphs. It's just enough that we need to know. On the like I guess you call them like circle charts or whatever, years lost, years gained. The years lost one, we're showing the ones that didn't lose many years in a darker color. I think the reason we can see, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. The reason we can see darker shading on the right is because they're overlapping, or I'm not. Yeah. I would personally, I would do it the other way around. So like we saw on Mohits, where we had the ones that had lost more time were shown in a darker color than the ones that had shown less. So the lighter color, less years lost. This is the other way around, but I don't know why it doesn't just flow from kind of left to right, from like dark to light.
No, that makes sense. I probably would have, instead of putting them all on the same axis, with one of the other visualizations that we saw, how it was broken out kind of by groupings of years, I probably would have done that, instead of putting them all on the same like distribution plot.
I think that was Mohit's, and I think we saw in that one that there was a specific age group that had lost more years, right? I think that context is lost here. And then the years gained, I'm not sure what the shading represents.
Yeah, so having some form of a caption or a legend in this area would help.
And then we have this, I don't know what you call it, cluster chart, but I don't know. Well, it's not a bubble chart. Where we've got the individual information about the women. I'm still trying to figure out what the shading represents. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I think it goes back to the chart at the top. So I think it's consonant, inconsonant, partial consonants.
Oh, got it. But is that for everything?
Yeah, this is consistent throughout, I think. It certainly is on this chart at the bottom.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about the details
in the tooltip.
Portrayed in the tooltip. Yeah. Because these are humans. And I think from a self perspective, I wouldn't want, I just personally wouldn't want my information out there like this.
Yeah, I think it goes back to Bridget's. Bridget's I'm sure she's got a post on this as well, around humanizing data and that kind of thing. Yeah, because it's a sensitive topic.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed. But overall, I like the design. I like the simplicity of it. I would appreciate more annotations or just things calling out interesting patterns or things like that. I mean, if we could bring together the years lost and years gained chart, I think that would be more powerful.
Yeah.
It shows how those two kind of interact. But yeah, I like the donate button at the bottom as well. It's obviously always good to include that on these types of vizzes. But yeah, well done, Priya. Okay, the next one is by Priyanka. And this one is, are people still living in the dark? So it's all to do with access to electricity. So I'm just looking at the scale. So the darker the color, the higher the population of people that are living in the dark, basically. Electricity.
I probably would have no, because I see some countries. I was going to say I would zoom more into the map, but I see there are more countries. They just don't have. They're at 0. So.
Yeah. I guess if your attention is drawn straight into like Africa.
Yeah,
it's quite difficult to see any countries with a small landmass that are anywhere else. I like the concept. I like the idea of how the ones that are living with more in the dark are shown in a darker color. I like that concept.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how she split urban and rural as well to show the difference.
Yeah, I like it. To add more context, this is just me when it comes to maps again. I find myself more so putting like top three in like a small box next to these charts, especially when I'm showing maps, like things to easily let your end user highlight or see, right? So just another quick data point instead of having to scroll over each individual point on the map.
Yeah, because you could be there all day, like, okay, which is the highest or the lowest?
Exactly.
Especially for the lowest, I think it's much more difficult to see. For this one, I would consider, and this is just me, like by no means need to do this, but having like a show hide button to show the rural and urban different separately. So you show one or the other, because I find myself like trying to look between the two. So, okay, if I pick, let's say Chad, so in the middle of Africa, right? So I'm looking at one chart, okay, how does that compare urban and rural? And the distance between the two is quite a lot. So I think if you had that button and just flip between them when they're stacked on top of each other, maybe it would be easier to do that comparison.
Yeah.
And I think if this was an IronViz submission, I'd expect to see a little bit more analysis around those differences and the reasons why as well.
Correct. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. But I like it. I like the design. It's nice. All right, so the next one is by Sedale. This one is super quirky. He's looking at a song by DMX and Cisco, and looking at the number of times they name certain women. So in this song, are you familiar with this song, right? It's an old song. Yeah. They just name like so many women.
Yeah.
And it's looking at the popularity of their names. This made me immediately think of R. Kelly. She's got that vibe. Yeah. When I was at school, that's. I mean, it shows my age. That song came out when I was at secondary school, maybe even primary school. I remember going to a school disco and then playing that song, and we had a friend called Joanne, and every time he was like, "Joanne's got it," everyone was like, "Yay, Joanne!" Just every time I think of that, hear that song, I just think of that. I go back to that time, and this is what this was reminded me of. I think it's super cool. It also reminded me of that viz about, it came up quite a lot in the election around area codes, Ludacris.
Yeah.
And the different area codes where he had hoes shaded on a map. Anyway, side point. So I really like this. I've got no idea like how he came up with the idea for this topic, but it's super fun.
Yeah, I like the switch between light and dark mode at the very top.
Yeah.
I also like the sort button as well. The view by song order, view by popularity. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's such random names as well. I was looking at some of them.
And then the search for your name. Yeah, my name will never be in here.
Well, Cookie's there. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's really funny.
Speaking of DMX, if you haven't heard him sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you should check that out.
Oh, gosh, I haven't.
That's a hilarious thing.
He's so angry all the time, DMX. Didn't he do the verses recently and he was like really drunk? Was that him? Or it was what he was, maybe who he was up against in the verses?
He was with Snoop Dogg, I think.
Was he?
Maybe, I think so. But I didn't watch it.
There was one where they both aged, whoever they were, I think it was him and someone else. I don't think it was Snoop Dogg. They both aged really badly. One of them showed up drunk. The whole thing was just a disaster. Because he was in prison for a long time, right? He hasn't been out all that long, I don't think.
Yeah. No, he did the battle. He did the verses with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, he did? Okay,
yeah.
But I'm thinking of someone else then. I'll have to look it up who it was, but it was just a bit like sad when you look like you know what they've become.
Yeah, I like the viz. It's visually it's nice and it's also hilarious to me.
Yeah, I do really, really appreciate the fact he's got that button to sort, because my problem with these charts a lot of the time is they're shown in that. So if you look at the by song order, it's really difficult to see. Okay, well, which name is the most popular? But he's catering for both kind of like scenarios here. So I really, really do appreciate that.
Yeah, me too.
And also I appreciate the fact that that chart starts at 12 o'clock and it goes around clockwise. So if we look at by popularity, we can see Linda is at 12 and then Karen's next, Lisa, etc.
Yeah, instead of sorting it the other way.
Yeah. Because sometimes I've seen these charts before on IronQuest and they've started at like a random point, like 3 o'clock or somewhere else. And I find that really hard to interpret. Yeah, no, I think it's great. Is there any interactivity? So I click on, okay. I would say one thing would be quite cool if we clicked on a name and the area chart would update so we could see the popularity of that name over time.
Oh yeah, and the command buttons as well on this one.
Yeah, I just noticed that. So, I think like the viz that it says viz by Zach Bowders, who's looking at probably you can pick two names, like a male and a female name, and look at how they're compare over time. This might be quite interesting, like to look at like that. So you could, if I click Linda, how is Linda's name, like how popular is it over time, basically?
Yeah.
Rather than just aggregating them all together. But yeah, it's cool. All right, next one is by Sadaf, and this one is looking at philanthropists. I can never say that properly. Oops. Okay, so I screamed at my dog for a second. It took me a second to figure out how to interact with this. I don't know if you've had
the slider.
Yeah, so I was clicking on the word cloud. So if I click like Bill Melinda Gates, it doesn't do anything. So I would love for the interactivity to be
the chart,
both on the slider and the chart, or or get rid of the slider, or whatever.
I think instead of using the word cloud, I probably would have used the bar chart and let the interactivity drive from the bar chart itself.
Yeah. Yeah, because with the word cloud, it's difficult to compare them. So just looking at the word cloud alone, I don't know the difference between, let's say, Ken Griffin and George Soros. They're about the same size. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe just have that quick insight on who's donated, the larger percentage of their net worth.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the layout. I like the pictures that's switching between. I know that took some time to get that together. So I think that's pretty neat. I like the small caption to the right for everyone's picture that comes up, so we can see that. I probably would have used a different chart instead of a stacked bar for the percentage or the total net worth and then the amount that was donated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Chuck Feeney right now, and the chart completely changes. I'm assuming that bar is looking at. Well, initially I thought it was at the proportion of. So if you look at the 1% overall and the proportion that each individual or group of people make up. Because if you look at most of the stacked bars, we've got like a dark gray and a light gray.
Yeah, I think the total bar is the higher bar is their net worth, and the smaller bar is the amount that they've donated of it. Right,
okay, so that gray area at the top where it says percent of net worth donated is the lower gray section. Okay, so maybe I'd move that gray section at the top where it calls out the percentage of net worth donated, and annotate or make that appear closer to that actual section on that chart.
Yeah. Part of me feels like I would have done like a waffle chart, maybe.
That's a good idea. would be really cool is to see this on like a small multiple waffle chart, right? So like a waffle chart per person.
Yeah.
And compare them that way, because it's nice how you can click through, you can see the pictures, you can get the context, but what we can't see other than the word cloud is actually seeing them all in context and looking at and comparing them against each other, right?
Yeah, and then some of these are blank as well.
And I can't, if I want to go to a specific person, I can't unless I go through the slider.
Yeah. I think a couple of minor tweaks, and this would be good.
Yeah. Okay. And the next one is by Tanveer, and this is a Viz for Social Good entry. So, in case you haven't seen it, so for let's say last month's Viz for Social Good, they released a data set related to all the Viz for Social Goods around the projects that have been done, the volunteers, how many Vizes they'd entered, basically everything to do with the project so far. So there was people approached this different ways. Some people looked at like the top people that have contributed, the top organisations, which rounds were most popular, and that kind of thing. Have you entered Viz for Social Good before?
I have once or twice.
Yeah.
More a couple of years ago. Nothing recently.
Yeah, the same here. I think I entered a lot when it first came out. I was actually, fun fact, I did a Viz for Social Good before Viz for Social Good was a thing.
Really?
Working with Chloe, yeah, because she reached out to me at the time saying, I want to start this thing. It didn't have a name. And I did a Viz just before it launched. I think my Viz was in November, and I think she launched it in January. So that was cool. Yeah. So I like the bands, and I like the context, the text at the top. I used a lot of them, yeah. And I think obviously it's nice that we can break the different organisations down by the area that they work in. I would just love to see more information on this Viz. I mean, so it's good what we can see so far, but I'd love to see more information, let's say, about the volunteers or the different projects maybe as well. Like who were the volunteers? I can see where they're from, but I don't know who they were or who's contributed the most, like we've seen in some of the other Vizes for this round.
I think the map is interesting. I'm used to seeing the US on the left.
Yeah. I'm used to seeing the UK in the middle. It depends where you are in the world.
Yeah, I see that. In this case, I don't know if I would have gone with the map once again because the colors are just so close. So I probably would have stuck with a different chart type here to show more rank.
Yeah, I guess the only thing the map adds in this case is it shows the countries that have or haven't participated, right, of people, the volunteers and where they come from and which countries don't have volunteers yet. I mean, the reason I say about showing the volunteers individually is because let's talk about IronQuest for a second. I know that I have regular participants that enter month after month after month. The same thing applies for Viz for Social Good. Like, there's people that enter every time. So who's to say that the 94 volunteers in the United States aren't in like maybe it's 10 people, right? But they just entered so many times. So I'd really love to see that information around the top participants and how many rounds they've entered and that kind of thing. Yeah, I like the call to action at the end, so that how to get involved, which is always good as well.
Yeah, I think it's a clean Viz, very simple.
Yeah, simple, clean. Yeah, definitely. All right, okay, the next one, we're nearly at the end, is by Valerie. And this is looking at a topic that I know nothing about. I'm going to say that now. Dungeons and Dragons 5e Monster Database. I think D&D's done Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. I had no clue.
We're both clueless about this topic. Love it. So
I like the background. So I do. The first thing that caught my eye was the images at the top and on the left. So I do like that.
I like that too. Yeah, I really like the one on the left, the shading and the grey looks cool. And I like it's a clean design. I like that. I like the fact that she's used these icons in what's in this database section. If they were colored in or multicolored or anything, it'd be quite overwhelming. They're all consistently styled. I know that's a big thing of yours, Chantilly. I know you're always saying that if you're going to use icons, make sure they all look the same.
Oh, yeah.
That always plays out in my head when I'm designing a viz. But she's nailed it here for that. Okay, so I'm going to click on one. So I'm going to click on, let's say, Beast, and see what happens.
So I like the fact that the chart is a fit width instead of an entire view type of chart. So I like that, because when you click on one that doesn't have as many rows, like the ooze or the plant one, it's not trying to fit those 4 within that space. Like, it's not trying to stretch them out. So I like that.
Yeah.
I also like the ability to show the monster profile. So when you click on one of the monsters that are listed, you could then opt to show the profile or not. On the left-hand side in the panel, I probably would have just given more context to the viz, because, like us, we have no clue. It looks nice, I'll say that, but I have no clue, like, unfortunately.
I don't know what CR means.
Yeah,
challenge. Actually, it means challenge rating, I'm assuming, from looking at the top, but I didn't know that. I like the fact that she's used like a, let's say, percent of total or something, like bar chart, so we can see that the Tyrannosaurus Rex, for instance, scores 8. I don't know what the total is, but it's certainly not it doesn't have the highest challenge rating. So I think it's out of 30, sorry. So it's nowhere near the highest. But yeah, it's the highest of the beasts. I do like that part of it.
I like the color scheme. I think that's what sticks out to me the most. The color scheme and the nice drop shadow boxes in the background. I think it all works.
And nice interactivity as well.
Yes.
You said, yeah.
Anything you would change?
One thing I would change, is really minor, is there's a sliding scale filter, and it's really hard to see. It's a Tableau thing, I think. I don't think you can change the color all that much. I might be wrong, but it's really hard to see the middle section. So it's because it blends into the background. That's the only thing I might just reformat a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's about it, though.
Yeah, I like how she's included where she got the drawings from. It's always good to say. And the icons.
Those are really nice.
Yeah, so it's good. Well done. All right, the last one we've got here is by Vishal. And this one is looking at the NBA Free Agency 2020, slammed or slashed by the pandemic. So again, it's not a topic that I know much about. So when I first looked at this viz, I clicked on the question mark.
Okay.
Then I got loads of information thrown at me.
Yes.
Which is great. I would just like a simple 2 sentence or something explanation of what this means, like what this viz is about.
Oh yeah, at the top.
Yeah. So this is, so I've got free agent question mark, and this is telling me way more than what just a free agent is. So I get that. I think it's I think of it in the football, UK football, soccer sense, in the sense that if you're a free agent, you're not part of you've not signed to a club, right? I think it's the same. So what I found really interesting is we have under the total distribution section, there's 3 bar charts. But the way they're kind of styled, it looks like they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
Because it kind of threw me off to begin with, because there's no distinction between each of them.
Oh yeah, there's no row divider.
Yeah. And they've also got like a line on the, like an axis, a y-axis that kind of goes down and connects them all. I think they're probably all in the same sheet. But what I would really love to see is something that Kevin Flerledge pushes for all the time, but like a line for the bars to sit on, because these bars are kind of floating in space.
Yeah.
I'd like something to like just bring them down to earth.
Yeah.
And so you could be able to see clearly where one bar starts, the other one stops and starts.
I agree.
Yeah. Just like you see at the bottom of the years. I think those ones are nice. It's the other ones above it the dollar ones. It's the other ones above it that are kind of floating.
I would probably go a little bit lighter on the grid lines for the left two charts. For the years of contract, there are a lot of circles there, and I know each circle represents a player. So I'm not sure if that's the best chart type to me, just given the fact that there's so many of those.
Yeah.
I like the different styles of the charts. Like they're
it's a good variety.
Yeah, 4 different charts, and I think it works in the visualization. So
yeah, on the Tenery chart plot. So am I saying it correctly? The triangle.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see a border around those white circles so we can see kind of like where one starts and the other one ends.
Oh yeah.
I also think that there's some like layering kind of stuff going on. I'd consider bringing, if they're not already, I don't think they are. I'd consider bringing those white ones to the forefront because at the moment I'm trying to hover on them, but I'm picking up the empty circles behind them.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I like also the colors, the consistency of the colors throughout.
Yeah.
So that I picked up on that, and I think that is great. I do appreciate the axis labels there as well. I know it's just the small things, but you'll be surprised how many visualizations I've come across that just, don't even have some of these small things. So I appreciate that as well.
Mm-hmm. The tooltips are nice as well.
Yeah.
They're really nicely formatted. So I really appreciate that.
I removed the command button once again.
Yeah. Do that. Everyone, just do that first before you do anything else. I wish they'd just have it off by default.
Yeah, me too.
The one thing I would say is I'd love to just add a little bit more space around these charts, because if we look at the bottom, so like the cap hit versus average salary, the axes labels go right to the edge. Just add some more room, like some padding would be good just around each of these, just to give them some more space to breathe.
I've noticed myself using blanks in between charts now. I never used to do that.
Okay.
But I noticed myself actually inserting a blank in between charts instead of adjusting the padding. I'll just insert a blank.
Why is that? Because it's quicker.
To give enough space between the charts. It's already like 32 pixels. When you decrease the blank box to its smallest, it's already like 32 pixels.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give space and room in between my charts. And now when I've been teaching, I recommend my students do that as well, or else your charts are going to be touching and clashing together. So like for me, I would have a blank in between above where it said cap hit versus average salary. I would have a blank right above that, so that it was a little bit more distance from that line. And then I would also have blanks around all of my dashboard. So it's like, padded in some, or just pad in the overall dashboard, like use inner padding for the overall container for the dashboard.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip. And one other thing I'd say on this one is, I think we all know, because we're familiar with these kind of things, but we've got a filter icon is the filters, but just when you hover over that, I'd love to see that it says click for filters, or rather than just say show vertical, which is the standard. Just to make it clear that is a filter and you can use that. Same with the question mark. Again, it just says show horizontal. It's not, just by changing that text in that edit button box, you could actually just say what you wanted to say, so show more information, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. I think this one has got a good balance of charts and context analysis, storytelling. Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely.
And one thing that's missing is the data source. I would say just add the data source on here.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's in the question mark. But let me just double check. No, it's not. Yeah, no, well done. All right, that brings us to the end of all the visits. But thank you, Chantilly. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing some tips and your insights with us. I hope everyone found the feedback useful. I'd say the visits have been really interesting this time, like all completely different topics, really good variety of different styles and things like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. So we'll be back in 2020 with some more exciting changes to IronQuest. Just watch out, I'll be posting a blog post soon. I've got some exciting collaborations lined up, so watch out for that. But follow my blog and you'll be the first to hear about anything that's going to happen in 2021. But thanks everyone for participating this year. Really appreciate it. It's been really, really great. Thanks, Chantilly, once again for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, have a good Christmas and holiday period.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.